First Maccabees Chapter 15. The Word of the Lord. Chapter 15. Letter of Antiochus VII. Antiochus, son of King Demetrius, sent a letter from the islands of the sea to Simon, the priest, and ethnarch of the Jews, and to all the nation, which read as follows: King Antiochus sends greetings to Simon the high priest and ethnarch, and to the Jewish nation. Whereas certain villains have gained control of the kingdom of our ancestors, I intend to reclaim it, that I may restore it to its former state. I have recruited a large number of mercenary troops and equipped warships. I intend to make a landing in the country, so that I may take revenge on those who have ruined our country and laid waste many cities in my kingdom. Now therefore I confirm to you all of the tax exemptions from the kings before me granted to you, and whatever other privileges they conceded to you. I authorize you to coin your own money as legal tender in your country. Jerusalem and its sanctuary shall be free. All the weapons you have prepared and all the strongholds you have built and now occupy shall remain in your possession. All debts, present or future, due to the royal treasury shall be canceled for you now and for all time. When we establish our kingdom, we will greatly honor you and your nation in the temple, so that your glory will be manifest in all of the earth. In the 174th year, Antiochus invaded the land of his ancestors, and all of the troops rallied to him, so that few were left with Trypho. Pursued by Antiochus, Trypho fled to Dor by the sea, realizing what troubles had come upon him, that his soldiers had deserted him. Antiochus encamped before Dor with 120,000 infantry and 8,000 cavalry, which he surrounded the city. His ships closed from the sea, so that he pressed it hard by the land and sea, and let no one go in or out. The Roman alliance renewed. Meanwhile, Nemenius and his companions came from Rome with letters containing this message to various kings and countries. Lucius, consul of the Romans, sends greetings to King Ptolemy. Ambassadors of the Jews, our friends and allies, have come to us to renew their earlier friendship and alliance. They have been sent by Simon the high priest and the Jewish people, and they brought with them a gold shield of 1,000 minas. Hi, babies. Oh, hi, babies. Hi, babies. Okay, of 1,000 minas. Therefore, we have decided to write to various kings and countries that they are not to venture to harm them or wage war against them or their cities or their country, and are not to assist those who fight against them. We have also decided to accept the shield from them. If then any troublemakers from their country take refuge with you, hand them over to Simon the high priest, so that he may punish them according to their law. The consul sent identical letters to kings Demetrius, Attalus, Ariarthes, and Arsaces, to all of the countries, Sampsames, the Spartans, Delos, Mindos, Sion, Caria, Samos, Pamphylia, Lycia, Halicarnassus, Rhodes, Phasaelis, Cos, Side, Aradus, Gortina, Snidus, Cyprus, and Cyrene. That was hard. A copy of the letter was also sent to Simon the high priest. Hostility from Antiochus. When King Antiochus encamped before Dor, he assaulted it continuously, both with troops and with the siege engines he had made. He blockaded Trypho by preventing anyone from going in or out. Simon sent to Antiochus support 2,000 elite troops, together with silver and gold and much equipment, but he refused to accept the aid. In fact, he broke all of the agreements he had previously made with Simon and became hostile towards him. He sent Athenobius, one of his friends, to confer with Simon and say, "You are occupying Joppa and Gazzara and the citadel of Jerusalem. These are cities of my kingdom. You have laid waste their territories, done great harm to the land, and taken possession of many districts in my kingdom. Now, therefore, give up the cities you have seized and the tribute money of the districts you control outside the territory of Judea, or instead pay me 500 talents of silver for the devastation you have caused and 500 talents more for the tribute money of the cities. If you do not do this, we will come and make war on you." So Athenobius, the king's friend, came to Jerusalem, and on seeing the splendor of Simon's court, the gold and silver plate on the sideboard, and his rich display, he was amazed. When he gave him the king's message, Simon said to him in reply, "It is not foreign land we have taken, nor have we seized the property of others, but only our ancestral heritage, which for a time has been unjustly held by our enemies. Now that we have this opportunity, we are holding on to the heritage of our ancestors. As for Hoppa and Kutzara, which you demand, those cities were doing great harm to our people and our country. For these we will give you 100 talents." Athenobius made no reply, but returned to the king in anger. When he told him of Simon's words, of his splendor, and all he had seen, the king fell into a violent rage. Victory over Sendebius. Trypho had boarded a ship and escaped to Orthosia. Then the king appointed Sendebius commander-in-chief of the seacoast and gave him infantry and cavalry forces. He ordered him to encamp against Judea and fortify Kidron and strengthen its gates so that he could wage war on the people. Meanwhile, the king went in pursuit of Trypho. When Sendebius came to Jamnia, he began to harass the people and to make incursions into Judea, where he took people captive and massacred them. As the king ordered, he fortified Kidron and stationed cavalry and infantry there, so that they could go out and patrol the roads of Judea. I love Tyler J. Harrison. God, please help Justin while he's in jail. Interesting. Okay. First Maccabees Chapters 16. John then went up from Kutzara and told his father Simon what Sendebius was doing. Simon called his two oldest sons, Judas and John, and said to them, "I and my brothers and my father's house have fought the wars of Israel from our youth until today, and many times we succeeded in saving Israel. I have now grown old, but you, by the mercy of heaven, have come to maturity. Take my place in my brothers and go out and fight for our nation, and may the help of heaven be with you." John then mustered in the land 20,000 warriors and cavalry, setting out against Sendebius. They spent the night at Modian, rose early, and marched into the plain there facing them with an immense army of foot soldiers and cavalry. And between the two armies was a wadi. John and his people took their position against the enemy, seeing that his people were afraid to cross the wadi. John crossed first. When his men saw this, they crossed over after him. Then he divided his infantry, put his cavalry in the center, for the enemy's cavalry were very numerous. They blew the trumpets, and Sendebius and his army were routed. Many of them fell wounded, and the rest fled toward the stronghold. It was then that John's brother Judas fell wounded, but John pursued them until Sendebius reached Kidron, which he had fortified. Some took refuge in the towers and on the plain of Azotus, but John set fire to these, and about 2,000 of the enemy perished. He then returned to Judea in peace. Murder of Simon and his sons. Ptolemy, son of Abubus, had been appointed governor of the plain of Jericho, and he had much silver and gold, being the son-in-law of the high priest. But his heart became proud, and he was determined to get control of the country. So he made treacherous plans to do away with Simon and his sons. As Simon was inspecting the cities of the country and providing for their needs, he and his sons, Mattathias and Judas, went down to Jericho in the 177th year. In the 11th month, that is the month of Shabbat, the son of Abubus gave them a deceitful welcome in the little stronghold called Doc, which he had built. He served them a sumptuous banquet, but he had his men hidden there. Then, with Simon and his sons were drunk, Ptolemy and his men sprang up, weapons in hand, rushed upon Simon in the banquet hall, and killed him. His two sons and some of his servants, by the vicious act of treachery, he repaid good with evil. Then Ptolemy wrote a report and sent it to the king, asked him to send troops to help him and to turn him over to the country and its cities. He sent other men to Kutzara to do away with John. To the army officers he sent letters inviting them to come to him so that he might present them with silver, gold, and gifts. He also sent others to seize Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. But someone ran ahead and brought word to John at Kutzara that his father and his brothers had perished, and Ptolemy had sent men to kill you also. On hearing this, John was utterly astounded when the men came to kill him. He seized them and put them to death, for he knew that they sought to kill him. Now the rest of the acts of John, his wars, and the brave deeds he performed, his rebuilding of the walls, and all of his achievements, these are recorded in the chronicles of his high priesthood, from that time that he succeeded his father as high priest. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. God bless you.